Right, so we've got a James Tavernier to Al Ettifaq update. We've got a Ridvan Yilmaz to Besiktas, or back to Besiktas update. We have also got some news about the impending rivalry of Hamza Igam Mane, the Moroccan striker from FC Rabat. So stay tuned, obviously, to find out all the very latest information on those three top stories. So look, the big news, the massive news, obviously coming out of the club, is the story around James Tavernier, and we're going to get to that in a moment. We'll also talk a little bit, obviously, about that possible exit for Ridvan Yilmaz, which comes on the back of him saying that he had no plans to leave the club. We'll discuss that one as well, and the pros and cons of losing Ridvan. Obviously, Scotland drew 1-1 last night with Switzerland. Thanks to apparently a Celtic right back cocking it up big time. Had a fantastic war of words on X last night with some Celtic fans over the ever useless Callum McGregor. Although I did see some Rangers fans praising Callum McGregor. I don't know how any Rangers fan can praise that person. I think that's about as kind of professional as I possibly can be. Anyway, let's talk about James Tavernier. Right, so this is the story. The story goes that apparently, according to a number of sources, including some within the club. Now, this is the key one. There are sources within the club that are leaking to the press and saying that James Tavernier has agreed terms with Al Ettifaq and will leave Rangers this summer. Now, this is an announcement and news that will massively divide the fan base. You know, I think James Tavernier is someone who, really does polarize opinion. You have the Tav fanboys on one element, and you have the, for fuck's sake, Tav crew on the other side of this. Tav has his positives, he has his negatives. Look, I'm not going to pretend he's all bad. I'm not going to pretend he's all good, because he's neither. He's neither all good, he's neither all bad. He has his positives, he has his massive negatives too. So, look, his stats for the club, his personal stats. I think that's a key thing there. We've got to kind of take the Tav self out of the club and look at him as an individual, and then look at him as part of the collective. His personal stats are excellent. I'm not going to dispute that. His personal career stats with Rangers are absolutely brilliant for an individual player. I mean, you look at the number of goals this man has scored and assists in his 460 appearances with Rangers. 125 goals, 129 assists, which when you consider that is a player who is playing in the right back slot, his individual stats are quite remarkable. Over 250 goal contributions in 460 games from right back. That is astounding. And you can't, no matter what you think about James Tavernier, whether you love Tav, hate Tav, whatever you feel about Tav, you can't deny that his personal, not team, his personal stats are absolutely excellent. This season, 17 goals in the league, 8 assists, 25 goal contributions in 33. Excellent personal stats there. Overall, looking at the stats for this season, 58 appearances, 24 goals from right back, which personally, very good. 12 assists, 36 goal contributions in 58. Again, very good. A goal every 218 minutes, putting some of our strikers to shame. Like I said, personal stats, absolutely excellent, absolutely brilliant. Not a debate on that one, I don't think. Team stats, piss poor, awful, genuinely bad. 3 trophies in 12 years. Captaincy record is appalling. One of the worst captains in Rangers history. I think we can all, as part of a team. Okay, I'm not talking about his goals and his assists. We've got to move that away from it when we talk about Tav. His actual, personal achievements as the captain of Rangers are not good enough for a captain of Rangers. Yes, before anyone criticizes me on this and say it's not all Tav's fault. Yes, it's not all Tav's fault, but he is part of the problem. He has been part of the problem. He has got progressively worse, progressively slower, defensively worse, can't tackle. Dyson Maida pretty much owns him, has him in his pocket every single game. Teams have started to target the right side of our defense repeatedly and repeatedly get success because of Tav's inability to actually defend, which looks worse, even worse when Connor Goldson's there. But overall, you've got to kind of separate Tav into two entities. Individually, absolutely outstanding stats for him as a person. Part of the team, In terms of his team stats as a Rangers captain, 3 trophies in 12 years, not good enough. Leadership skills, not good enough. Been there when we need him, you know, in the big games against Celtic, not good enough. His old firm record is absolutely shocking. So, you know, you've got to kind of balance that out. And I'm not saying he's all good and I'm not saying he's all bad, but we need a bit of perspective when we look at him now. We need to look at it out of that thing. So if we are going to get a transfer fee, no word on yet on what the transfer fee is, but if it's somewhere around, say, 4 or 5 million, I think that would be very good business for a player the wrong side of 30 who isn't going to get any better. That would be an excellent piece of transfer business, money that could go into the coffers. It's quite clear that obviously we need to raise money to buy players. The board seemingly don't have any money to back the manager without actually selling players first. So it does appear that we do need to obviously sell off players. So if we can get 4, 5, maybe even £6 million for James Tavernier, I think that would be the right move forward. Now, there's going to be those who say this is the wrong move for the club. We shouldn't be selling our team captain. We shouldn't be selling our top goal scorer. But the situation is this, guys. We need to stop relying on a right back to score goals. We need to find players, and hopefully we are starting to do that, who can score from midfield, who can score up front, you know, and, you know, at the end of the day, he does score a lot of penalties and a lot of free kicks. So you're telling me that we can't find a centre forward who can take penalties? I don't think that's true. I think we can find a centre forward who can take penalties. You're telling me we can't find a midfielder who can take free kicks? I think we can. His set piece delivery is appalling. So, you know, I think we saw at the end of last season, Igamane getting involved a lot better. You know, I'm sure we can find midfielders, you know, who can take set pieces. So overall, I don't think going to be as big a loss as a lot of people think it could be. And there's a lot of TAV fans, TAV fanboys, TAV lovers out there that will be like, oh, we can't lose TAV. It'll be the end of the world. No, it won't be. I think it will be a great start. And I think, look, if we can get rid of Connor Goldson as well, we have kind of cut that weakness out of the club, that mentality fail, that weakness of mentality out of the club. And we are leading this club forward to a brave new era. And as I said repeatedly on a number of videos, we need revolution, not evolution. And that revolution is kicking out the players who have failed time and time again against Celtic when it actually matters, when it really depends on them coming up, standing up, being counted as a leadership group. James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, players who you know need to stand up in those big games, be counted, lead from the front. And what do? They hide, they play poorly, they get owned by that lot from across the city, and we look poor. So for me, this is the right move. That I really hope that these stories that are, you know, emerging from the club are true. I genuinely do, because honestly, I feel genuinely, if we start next season with James Tavernier in as our captain still, and in this first 11, we will win absolutely nothing, because you will have that same mental weakness there that will transmit to other players against Celtic. You will have the same again and again, where Dyson Maida will run past him at will because he's too slow, he can't tackle, he's just not a good defender. So for me, I really hope this move comes off. I think it's the best thing for James Tavernier. Look, personally, you know my feelings. I would never go to Saudi and play for blood money. But, you know, if he's going to go there, if he's going to set his family up for the rest of his life, then, you know, fair play to the boy, fair play to him. You know, let him do that. Let him do that. But for me, like I said, could never do it, but I wish him all the very best if this move does come off. Right, let's move to the other side of our fullback. This is a bit of an not unexpected, I wouldn't say. I think this is kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? One that's been muted time and time again, but seemingly denied, you know, just a few weeks ago. Now, a few weeks ago, we reported here on Glasgow Rangers Nation the comment that was made by Ridvan Yilmaz that, you know, that he wasn't going to move on, that he wasn't going to leave, that he wanted to stay with the club, that he wanted to be a Rangers player for the foreseeable. But it now emerges that Besiktas, his former club, he has obviously played for them previously, are about to lose their left back, Masuaka, to Nantes in France, and they have targeted that money they're going to get from that deal to buy Ridvan Yilmaz back and bring him back to Turkey. Now, there are links there. Obviously, already, Gio van Bronckhorst is the new head coach of Besiktas. Gio van Bronckhorst was the man who wanted Ridvan bringing to Rangers. He's the man who signed, well, kind of signed Ridvan for Rangers. you've got to obviously remember the role played by Ross Wilson in that. But overall, this I think has a bit of legs in it because look, for a long time now, there's been stories, reports that Ridvan is heading back to Turkey. There was talks of him going to Gala, which was very swiftly denied due to the fact that he doesn't like Gala because of his Besiktas ties. There was talk of him going to Fenerbahce, another Turkish club. There was talks of him heading home, and I think there's been a lot of that rumor constantly there. And there's a saying, isn't there? There's no smoke without fire, and I think in this case there is a little bit of fire here in this story. Now, look, personally, my personal opinion is I absolutely love Ridvan. Absolutely love Ridvandinho. I think he's a top player. I think he's got better. I think, since January, when he was fit, that is, we'll talk about that in a moment. He's been brilliant. He's been fantastic. He's great going forward. He's good at going backwards. He's a top player. And I think when he wasn't in the team looked worse. It lacked balance. It lacked drive down the left side. It lacked that natural left footer. Borna Barisic didn't do it because it was just past it and poor last season. We didn't have another left-footed left back until young Robbie Fraser got a run out. But look, Ridvan for me has been brilliant. He's been fantastic when he's played. Now, if we look at the Premiership statistics of Ridvan Yilmaz, he's made 22 appearances this last season, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 yellow card, played in 45% of the starting 11s, played 50% of the minutes, and had a 3% goal participation rate. In the top 6 split, he played 3 times for Rangers, played in 20% of the starting 11s, 29% of the minutes. Now, that's in the bread and butter competitions. In the Europa League, he played twice. In the League Cup, he played once and scored 1 goal. And in the Scottish Cup, he played 4 times. Overall, last season, 32 appearances, which, as you can see, is substantially under what James Tavernier did last season, 2 goals and 1 assist. Look, for me, there's a very telling story in these stats, 20% and 45%. Now, some of that, yes, is the manager rotating the team, rotating Ridvandinho, Ridvanaldo out of the squad. Now, I know that is part of it. There's times last season when he used Robbie Fraser, when he, at the end of the season, or when he used Borna Barisic ahead of Ridvan. So there's all those times. But the overwhelming element in that low percentage of appearances for Ridvan in the league is his injury record. Now, one genuine concern I have with Ridvan, and as top quality a player that he is, as superb a player as he actually is, and I would love to see him stay. The one thing that kind of balances it out for me, that kind of says a little bit that, if we can get, say, 5-6 million for him, it would be a decent piece of business. And if that means he's selling him back to Besiktas, then so be it. Because that's the one thing that worries me about Ridvan, is his injury record, is the amount of games that he misses. Philippe Clement has made it quite clear that he does not want players who are constantly out, constantly missing. His recovery as well, you've got to kind of question that. Yes, some of that could be down to the medical staff, the strength and conditioning staff, the work done, in the rehabilitation department at the club. But, we talked, didn't we, before that April the 7th game at Ibrox about the fact that Ridvan was touch and go for that. And then suddenly 2 weeks later, he's finally ready after that. Well, what the hell happened? How did he go from being touch and go to not even training and then taking about 2 weeks to get back on the training pitch? What happened? Is there a weakness there? Is there a real injury proneness? Is there almost a Turkish Kamar Roof kind of quality about Ridvan Yilmaz? Is that what is happening? So for me, if it is that he is going to be sold, that there is truth again in this rumor, and like I said, there is no smoke without fire. This is a story that keeps coming up time and time again. It came up last summer, it came up again in January, it's now come up again. There is clear links, and I get that some of it could just be lazy journalism because Gio was the man who brought him to Rangers. Get that, but if it is a case that we can get 5-6 million for him, then what? Let's take the money. And let's put that money back into the squad and into building this squad back up again, to putting us back where we belong, back on the top of the Scottish game. For me, that's what we need to be looking at now. What would this mean for Rangers? Obviously, we have Jeff Tay, who is a young, obviously Brazilian left back. We have Robbie Fraser. I think the club would then go out and look at possibly signing another left back. There's obviously talk about Thomas Gedalmes. He is still very much on the radar, I'm told. Again, he can play left back as well as left side centre half. So, that is very much telling me that there is a true possibility there, if they're looking at Gedalmes, that we could move Ridvan on. Look, if he goes, we wish him all the best. Like I said, it is the injury side of the game that does worry me a little about Ridvan. Like I said, I do love wee Ridvan. I think he's a top player, a top talent. But it just may be that, it's right for both parties to allow him to move on. There's a saying, isn't it? The saying is, if you love someone, let them go. And it's almost like that with wee Ridvan, isn't it? You can kind of see that a little bit with wee Ridvan. So look, that's the story that's doing the rounds. It keeps coming back up. Besiktas apparently is the destination. Whether it happens or not, who knows? But it's certainly an interesting one, nonetheless. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Hamza Igam Mane, the Moroccan striker, the young Moroccan striker, one of the most unpromising under-23 strikers in world football, apparently. So I'm told by some of his biggest fans. So it looks like this is a done deal. Now, I brought you news yesterday that apparently, according to some sources and some of the people that watch this channel, he started taking English lessons. Now, this has been reported now, not the English lessons bit, the signing bit, by one of Morocco's football sites. Now, this is what they're saying. Break. Which I mean, because it means breaking. It's just obviously lost in translation. FAR Rabat have reached an agreement with Glasgow Rangers. There were negotiations about the amount in recent days. The club has agreed to the amount of Glasgow Rangers. The club refuses to sell Amin Zahu. I don't know who he is. He's nothing to do with Rangers. But the overwhelming story here is that, according to sources within Morocco, within the club FAR Rabat and within the Rabat kind of media circus, that it has been a done deal and agreed between Rangers and Rabat that Igamane will become a Rangers player. A fee has reportedly been agreed, and it's now just down to the boy travelling to Glasgow, completing his medical, and signing on the dotted line. Look, again, another talented young player. Looks like it's going to be over the line very soon indeed. Look, this is, whether we like it or not, at this moment in time, this is the direction the club are going in. The club are going in the direction of signing promising young players, young talented players who can come in and improve this squad, who can lower the average age of the squad, who can bring a hunger, a real passion to the game, a desire to play, a desire to want to get into the first team, and once they get in the first team, hold on to that place. Something that sometimes is lacking from those players that have kind of been there, seen that, done that. And I think, look, there's a lot of comments that I'm reading on social media or on the videos that I've made on TikTok and the videos that I've made on here. Now we need to sign some adults. Well, look, I think we will sign some experienced players. Don't get me wrong, over the age of 20, 21, 22. But I think that will come after the Euros. I've said that on repeated occasions. And one of them will not be Lawrence Shankland before he comes up yet again. The club are not interested. But look, this is the direction the club are going in. At the moment, we have a squad that is bloated, a squad that has a massive wage bill, a squad that has let us down repeatedly, a squad that has failed, for the last couple of seasons, and a squad that, has gone along signing experienced journeymen from south of the border or from other places, and it just hasn't worked out. Sam Lammers, Cyril Dessers, not worked out. Players like Tom Lawrence, constantly injured, Kieran Dow, constantly injured. Players that have failed, over recent seasons, you've just looked at and gone, Jesus, what the hell? Players that vast amounts of money have been spent on. Recruitment over the last couple of windows has just been genuinely poor from the club. And this is a different direction, a more exciting direction. And we've got to trust in Niels Koppen. We trust in Philippe Clement as to what they're doing, the vision they have, the journey they're taking this club on. And Hamza Igam Mane appears to be part of that vision, part of that journey. And I think, as I said a video a couple of days ago, you cannot draw conclusions on these players until you see them play for Rangers. And whether they're 19, 21, 26, 27, 28, 23, whatever they are, if they go out there, play with a passion, play with a hunger, show skill, show talent, and help Rangers to win, that's all we ask for. That's all we want as fans. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in today's video. Obviously, drop me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to disagree, but please do so in a constructive manner. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Always, please, obviously, smash that sub, help the channel to keep on growing. And on the way out, 2 favours I always ask of you. Number 1, smash that like. It defeats the algorithm. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.